Doctors say there is nothing you can do about Hashimoto's. I completely disagree. The real danger is not the diagnosis, it's doing nothing about it. When you don't address the root causes of your Hashimoto's, it keeps progressing, leading to more fatigue, brain fog, and symptoms that seem to come out of nowhere. But here is the good news. You can take steps to stop that progression. So if you have ever Googled how to stop Hashimoto's from progressing, this is the episode for you. I'm going to share what is really going on inside your body and what you can do starting today to change the direction of your health. Welcome to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. This is where you will find clarity and simple, sustainable strategies to feel better. I want to help you figure out your root causes. My name is Esther Yunkin. I am a registered nurse. I spent about 17 years in the emergency department, and then I got sick and tired of putting Band-Aids on chronic things. I went back to school, and now I have been in holistic health education for about 10 years. I know how exhausting it is to live with fatigue, brain fog, and the ups and downs of Hashimoto's. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to cut through the confusion and to give you practical steps that support your body, calm your immune system, so that you can regain your energy and feel like yourself again. Do you remember when you first got your diagnosis, when your doctor or PA or nurse practitioner eventually said, you have hypothyroidism, and that hypothyroidism is caused by Hashimoto's? Probably it wasn't exactly that simple. Probably you got a hypothyroid diagnosis, and then eventually you figured out Hashimoto's. That's how it happens for a lot of people. And even before that, they're searching for answers for about 4 different years, seeing a bunch of different people to get that answer. So finally, you're sitting down and they say, okay, here's the issue. You're like, yes, I finally have a name for what's going on. Now what? And your doctor says, so you're just going to come in every 3 or 6 months. We're going to take your labs and you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life. We'll just adjust the dose as you need it. Now, there are 2 different common responses that I have seen. A is, oh, great. I have a diagnosis and I have a plan. I'm happy. And those people are probably not listening to this episode. They're probably not listening to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. Maybe you are. Maybe you're in that group. And I am so glad you are here to hear that there is a different answer. The other group of people are thinking, group B, they're thinking, wait, you just want me to be reliant on a pharmaceutical for the rest of my life? Like, you're telling me there's nothing I can do? I am just a lifelong patient? What? You're set with that relief of, okay, now I know what's going on. And at the same time, even more confusion of, why am I a lifelong patient? Why are you not telling me more things that I can do? For everything else that we have, for a lot of diagnoses that we have, there are things you could do. If you have diabetes, you know that you need to change your diet. You know that there are things that you can do. If you have knee pain, you know that there are things you can do. For every single thing that comes to mind, at least, there are things that you can do. I just paused while I was recording, trying to think of if there are exceptions to that rule. And I don't think there are, because for every single thing that is going wrong with our body, there is something that you can do. It might not directly counteract the diagnosis. Like, maybe you have a big, scary one, but, at least you can reduce inflammation. And reducing inflammation is going to have a cascade of effects that help your body heal better. So there are always things you can do, whether it's diet, whether it's stress, whether it's sleep. There are always some things that you can do. And some diagnoses, it's more obvious. So why would we think that hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's is any different? Why are the medical people, the providers, so quick to say, there's nothing you can do, here's a prescription, you're a lifelong patient? I disagree with that so much. I want you to have agency in your health. I want you to know that there are things that you can do. So for Hashimoto's, can you do anything? Is there anything that you can do to stop Hashimoto's from progressing? And yes, I firmly assert, yes, there are things that you can do. And the very first thing that I want you to do is to take a deep breath. I want you to lower that stress response. I know this can be very overwhelming. I know that looking at a lifetime of being your own project can be a little intimidating. I want you to take a deep breath. It's okay. I am here for you. There are probably, dozens of people in your life that you don't even realize that they have thyroid issues, but they do, and they would love to talk to you about it too. And maybe they don't have the answers. You can work on that together. Send them this episode. Say, hey, I have been learning about Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. Take a listen and let's do this together. So yes, there is hope. There are things you can do. So after you take a deep breath and realize that this is okay, we're going to make it, we're going to get through this together, then you're going to look for your root causes. The root causes are what is obviously causing this hypothyroidism. It is what's causing your immune system to go haywire and start attacking things. We want to figure out those root causes. Now, I have 170 something episodes in the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. You can go back to the beginning and you can binge them. I have heard from people who have done that. Awesome. That is why I do this every single week. I get behind the microphone so that you can figure out simple and sustainable ways to help yourself feel better. I always want you to have agency. I want you to be able to figure out what is going on and what you can do about that. Always my goal. So 170 something episodes, you're like, okay, Esther, they're on average about 20 minutes each. I don't have whatever 20 minutes times 170 is. I don't have that available. How can I shortcut this? I'm so glad you asked because I do have a shortcut for you. And that is the Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes Revealed mini course that I created. This is an excerpt of the full program, the full holistic Hashimoto's program. If you know that you want me to hold your hand and walk you through all of the steps, we're going to figure out your root causes together and then figure out what you can do about them. You want the holistic Hashimoto's course. It is only $197 right now. Definitely jump in and do that. It's not going to take you that long. I try to make it as simple and non-overwhelming as I can because I know that you are probably dealing with brain fog. You're probably dealing with overwhelm. You're probably dealing with not enough time, not enough brain space. You need to figure out this as simply as you can. And that is what the Holistic Hashimoto's program is all about, helping you figure out as simply as you can. But for people who don't want to do the full program, I did take out that first little chunk of figuring out your root causes. So if you know you are going to want the full program, just get the full program. If you want to start out with just that first step of figuring out your root causes, then that is the mini program. That is the mini course. It is right now, it's housed in our Health with Hashimoto's community over on the school.com platform. Now, the platform is like the old Facebook back before ads and the algorithm took over things. It was when you just, logged on and you saw your community and you saw the posts in order, like that is what is on the school platform, which is why I moved our community over there. So you are going to head down to the show notes. You're going to click the link and you're going to find our school community, Health with Hashimoto's, in our classroom tab. So there's the discussion tab, where everybody talks. And then there's the classroom tab. That is where you're going to find the whole program. It's also where you're going to find the mini course. That mini course is super easy to go through. It's going to take you less than an hour. You're going to figure out what is Hashimoto's, like all about it, and then how it relates to you, what contributed to you getting Hashimoto's. You're going to be able to look at the most common root causes and figure out your unique plan. Now, disclaimer, obviously, in less than an hour, you're not going to be doing lab testing. There's a lot of people who say test, don't guess. And there is a huge, yes, that is definitely a thing. I have lots of guests come on to talk to you about that. I have a whole bunch of really cool guests coming up in the new year for you. So yes, definitely there is a test, don't guess strategy. But in this initial period of time, we can look at the most common root causes and you're like, oh, yeah, that one, definitely an issue. I'm not guessing. We're saying, stress. Stress is a huge issue. And you don't need any testing to figure out, oh, you know what? I have been really stressed for the last decade, and I'm quite sure that that had something to do with this diagnosis, with my immune system going haywire. Yep, that's probably one of them. Another thing is vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, you are going to test it because you want to know your exact number. But in this first hour, when you're going through the most common root causes, I'm going to talk to you about vitamin D. And if you live in the northern hemisphere, if you live above the latitude, longitude, whatever the horizontal one is, that line that goes through Chicago, if you live above that, well, you could be outside butt naked all the daylight long in the winter, and you would not be able to make enough vitamin D with the sun exposure. We just don't get enough sun, and it's not at the right angle. So if you know that you've grown up in this northern latitude and that you haven't been supplementing with vitamin D, and you know that you wear sunscreen faithfully, and you know that you are inside most of the time, you can pretty safely assume that your vitamin D is depleted, and it could be a root cause. Again, with that one, you're going to want to test, but you can start taking action right away because it's common sense. This Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes mini course is common sense led. You're going to listen to me teach you about the most common root causes, and you're going to identify the ones that fit the best with your life, and you're going to figure out a unique plan. Now, if you want more hand-holding, then yes, of course, the full Holistic Hashimoto's course program, it is the perfect thing to walk you through that. So back to the beginning. Is there anything that you can do to stop Hashimoto's from progressing? Yes. Like I said, yes, there are things you can do. You want to figure out what's going on. You want to figure out the root causes. And then you want to take action. And then you get to repeat. Because I'm sorry to tell you this is a lifelong project now. You are always, and you know what? It was before I told you this too. It was even before you got your diagnosis. Your health is always a long-term project. I feel like it has been ever since at least we were teenagers. When you were a little kid, you didn't think about your health, most likely. You just, played, you went to school, you slept, you did what your parents said, you just lived life. When you were entering puberty, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, why am I getting all this acne? What can I do for my skincare? What is going on with my hormones? When you're a teenager, you usually start to figure out that health is kind of a project. There are things that you can do. And now that you are listening to this, you have probably gotten to the point where you're always kind of investigating, like, what can I do for my health? Is there a better way to eat? How can I meal plan for the next day, the next week, the next month, so that I have a healthier diet? There are always things that we're looking at. And that is just the nature of being human and being an adult and taking agency for your health. So yes, there are things that you can do. Figuring out your root causes is number one. If you follow me on Instagram, I post in my stories probably every day. I don't post on my feed that often. I'm trying to do better. But anyway, stories is where I show up. So this morning I posted a selfie with me and my pile of books that I was skimming for research for this episode. I have read, I think, all of them before. I don't think I have finished one, but I have read them and I have lots of highlights, and I just wanted to go through them to make sure that I wasn't missing anything for this episode. Because when you are looking for a way to stop your Hashimoto's from progressing, when you are looking for a way for healing, and when you're coming to me for those answers, I take that responsibility very, very seriously. So yes, I skimmed 5 different books today and I have a couple pages of notes, and it really came down to, you know what? I have all of this already in that root causes mini course because I've already read the books. I've already done so much reading and research, and I put it in there as the most simple, streamlined, easy to digest, easy to implement way that I could find, that I could possibly figure out for you. But maybe you're busy right now, you're multitasking, you're, washing the dishes, making your food, going on a walk, whatever it is, and you're like, no, Esther, I want something right now. I want to know what I can do right now. Okay, number one, reduce your stress. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath from your diaphragm, belly breathing. Let's lower your stress response. You can't necessarily change the external things. You can change how you respond to stress. And sometimes you can stop putting yourself in stressful situations. For example, maybe you can't do a high intensity workout. I have learned that my body does not want me to run. Every time I try running, I have a Hashimoto's flare up. This spring, I forgot about that. It's been a couple years, and all I was thinking about is I haven't run in a really long time. I really miss it. I'm going to try it again because I feel like I'm out of shape. And I had a Hashimoto's flare up, and I was like, why is this? Oh, right. It's because I was running, and my stress system has just decided that running is too much of a physical stressor. So you can change some of your stresses, but sometimes it's changing how you respond. So you're in a stressful situation and it's reminding yourself, take a deep breath from my belly. I'm going to breathe for a minute. I'm going to relax my jaw. I'm going to relax my tongue. I'm going to relax my shoulders. I'm going to take another deep breath. And then I'm going to continue on with my day because now I have lowered my stress a little bit. I have lowered that stress response in my body. So there are things that you can do. Let's start with stress. So the next thing is, does your thyroid have enough ingredients to be able to work? And that is also very baseline. And yes, we go over it in the mini course because that is one of the root causes. If your thyroid doesn't have the ingredients to do its job, well, then it can't do its job very well, right? That's obvious, right? But we have to stop and think about it. And when you were at the doctor's office and they said, you have hypothyroidism, here's a medication, they probably didn't say, hey, by the way, are you making sure that you're getting at least 200, is it micrograms or milligrams? 200 of selenium every day? Like, are you eating 2 Brazil nuts? Are you looking at your multivitamin and making sure that it has 200 of selenium? I'm sorry, I can't remember the units right now off the top of my head. I remember the 200. They probably didn't ask you about how much iron you're getting in your diet. Maybe they checked your iron when they did your labs, and that's awesome. If you don't have enough iron in your, in your body and in your diet, your thyroid can't work well. If you're not getting enough selenium, it can't work well. Same with iodine. Now, iodine is very tricky, and you're going to hear people very opinionated, some telling you that you need more iodine, some people telling you that you need less. And both camps have excellent science behind them. The thing is, if you just have hypothyroidism and no Hashimoto's, you probably need more iodine. If you have Hashimoto's and that is why your thyroid is not producing enough, then more iodine might make your Hashimoto's worse. So you're going to want to figure out a happy medium, and there is nobody that can figure that out for you. And I do go into that issue more in depth in the full holistic Hashimoto's program because it is nuanced and there is no 100% answer that goes across the board. And actually, that is one of the red flags when I'm looking at somebody who is creating like resources or education or program for Hashimoto's. If they have a 100% across the board recommendation for iodine, that's a red flag for me because I have read such credible information on both sides of the issue. And if one person is saying that everybody needs to be doing this, it's a red flag. I will probably not proceed with that provider or with that person because I know that it is nuanced. There is no 100% across the board. So anyway, back to the question, how can I stop Hashimoto's from progressing? You're going to want to go through, just the basic steps. You want to understand what is happening. You want to understand what is the root cause. Figure out those root causes. Identify which ones are the most simple to take care of. For example, that vitamin D, you take a vitamin D supplement every morning. That is not hard, right? So simple. And then B, you're also going to figure out which ones are going to make the biggest difference. And maybe for you, that's gut health. Maybe for you, you say, okay, Esther, you said in the mini course and you said on the podcast that everybody with an autoimmune problem has a gut issue. I know that I have been, having irregular bowel movements for the last forever. I know I have gut issues. So you're going to start working there because it's going to make such a huge difference. Your gut health does not just impact your immune system. Your gut health impacts your hormones. It impacts your mood. It impacts your mental health. It impacts your skin. It impacts your energy. It impacts so many different things. So maybe you say, okay, I know that gut health is ginormous in my overall health, including my thyroid and my immune system. I'm going to start there. So you're going to figure out the simplest things and the biggest impact things. You're going to acquire some tools to work on them. Some of them are going to be free, like deep breathing, lowering your stress. Some of them might be more of an investment. You're going to figure out which tools work for you and your budget in this season of your life. And then you're going to implement, and then you're going to repeat this whole cycle. Figure out what's going on, figure out the root causes, figure out what you can do today, implement, and then reevaluate. I hope this really, really helped you. And most importantly, I hope it gives you hope. There are ways to stop your Hashimoto's from progressing. No matter what you have been told about you're a lifelong patient and you just have to stay on your pharmaceutical thyroid medication, there actually are things that you can do to help your body so that it can stop that progression, so that your immune system starts working better. You can achieve remission from Hashimoto's. There is hope. Please share this episode with a friend who also needs to hear that there is hope, who has maybe wondered, are there ways to stop my Hashimoto's from progressing? Because maybe they haven't heard yet. Yes, there are ways. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any changes with your trusted healthcare provider. To take your next step, join our school community and explore the courses available there. You do not have to figure your health out alone. So that is school, SKOOL.com, and it is the Health with Hashimoto's community. I'll see you next time on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.